Hello. Let's take a look at the last part of the topic respiration. That is the effects of tobacco smoke. So there are 4 chemicals that are found in the tobacco smoke that you need to take note for your syllabus. The first one is nicotine. Second one is carbon monoxide. The third one is irritant. And the last one is tar. They all have different properties and result in different illnesses. Okay, so you need to take note. You need to know how to explain how these certain chemicals will eventually cause certain diseases. Like for example, nicotine causes cardiovascular diseases, and carbon monoxide cause also cardiovascular diseases, and also of course premature death in babies born to smoking mothers. As for irritants, irritants will cause chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Or tar will cause cancer, chronic bronchitis, and also emphysema. Okay, so this is just a review. Let's take a look at nicotine. Nicotine causes the release of adrenaline. Adrenaline is a stress hormone. So when adrenaline is released into our blood, it increases our heartbeat and also it increases our blood pressure. This effect will cause cardiovascular diseases. Why? Because if the heartbeat and blood pressure were to increase, this will damage the linings of our arteries, our not just arteries, but other blood vessels as well. And this eventually paves the way to cardiovascular disease. Nicotine also makes the blood clot easily. Okay, by making the blood clot easily, this increases the risk of blood clots in the blood vessels. So if blood clots were to form in our blood vessels, this eventually cause cardiovascular diseases as well, because blood clots will clot up and block the blood vessels, the smaller blood vessels such as narrow capillaries. And then this will eventually cause shortage of blood supply to the heart if the blood vessels that are involved is coronary arteries. Okay, nicotine is also a type of addictive drug. So it is very addictive. That's why it makes it very hard for smokers to quit smoking. Carbon monoxide. The next component is carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide will combine with hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin. Carbon monoxide binds preferably to hemoglobin. In other words, hemoglobin prefer to bind to carbon monoxide than binding to oxygen. So you can imagine, out of 100 oxygen molecules, if there is one carbon monoxide, hemoglobin will choose to bind to carbon monoxide, but not oxygen. So you can imagine, even if there's a lot of oxygen around, there's one carbon monoxide, the hemoglobin will carry the carbon monoxide. So you can imagine, hemoglobin looks something like this. It is a protein that is found in the red blood cell. Each hemoglobin can bind to one oxygen. Actually, 4 oxygen molecules. So 1, 2, 3, So if, say, instead of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide bind to hemoglobin, this means that this hemoglobin now can only carry a maximum of 3 oxygen instead of just now 4 oxygen. So if you have much more carbon monoxide present, then you will even carry less. You will carry even less oxygen. So that's why you can say presence of carbon monoxide will reduce the oxygen transporting or oxygen carrying capacity of red blood cell. So normally one red blood cell can carry like 400 molecules of oxygen. Now, due to presence of carbon monoxide, it can only carry maybe 320 molecules. So it reduces the amount of oxygen carried by each red blood cell. So what are the effects on the body? Lesser oxygen will be transported to the cells, resulting in lesser oxygen available for aerobic respiration. And subsequently, lesser energy is released for cellular activities. So in that case, you will feel lethargic, very tired, because you cannot release energy from your food. Okay, as compared to a healthy person, a healthy or non-smoker, they can get normal amount of oxygen, which is higher than the smokers, and end up releasing higher amount of energy than the smokers. So they are much more active. Okay, they can carry out vigorous exercise without any problem. Okay, as compared to smoker, the smoker will probably run maybe 2 meter or maybe 200 meter and then end up being very breathless because they are gasping for air, not enough oxygen in the body. Okay, so what will happen to someone that is lack of oxygen? So if you are lack of oxygen due to carbon monoxide poisoning, you will first experience headache. Your head, your brain do not have enough oxygen, so it will cause severe headache. And then we eventually feel dizziness, nauseated. Okay, if it is much more serious, you might fall unconscious or even enter a comatose state. And the most serious is, of course, death. This is for the individual who smoke or the individuals who are exposed to carbon monoxide. For smoking mothers, that means mothers that are carrying babies, pregnant women, they will pose danger to their unborn baby. Their unborn baby may die of premature death, or they may be born alive but with very low birth rate. Why? As I said, lesser oxygen is available, hence lesser respiration in cells, lesser energy. If you have lesser energy, then you end up with lesser growth. So if you have lesser growth, then your weight will be very low. If your weight is too low, then you cannot survive. You die. Okay? Next, let's take a look at another effect of carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide causes the production of free radicals. These free radicals will damage the lining. As you can see here, this is the lining of the blood vessels. Okay, cell after cell after cell. So if you can see, there is a tear in the endothelial lining. That is the lining that covers the blood vessels. So if this lining is damaged, then what happened here? Here you can see cholesterol is coming in. So cholesterol that flow Normally, if there is no tear, cholesterol will just pass through. Whoop, nothing happened. But if there's a tear, cholesterol will come in here. Whoop, it will get trapped underneath this lining. So when you get trapped underneath this lining, what happens? Eventually, it will become like this. So here you can see a lot of cholesterol and saturated fats have been trapped over here. Okay. See, this is healthy lining. This one is trapped lining already. And then this one is getting more and more serious as it goes along. Okay. Then eventually it will block blood supply to the coronary arteries, and then you will suffer heart attack. That is also known as cardiovascular disease. Okay, so basically carbon monoxide causes production of free radicals which damage the interior linings of the blood vessels. So the repair mechanism causes the position of saturated fats and also cholesterol. Then it will cause the increased risk in arteriosclerosis, which is the hardening of blood vessels. Then end up with cardiovascular disease. Okay, also cause platelets and red blood cells to become more sticky. So if it's more sticky, it will increase chances of blood clotting, and same as this one, increase cardiovascular disease. Okay, let's take a look at third one. We have irritants. Irritants. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's take a look at irritants. Irritants will irritate the air passages, such as your trachea, your bronchus, and bronchus. Okay, this will cause them to produce more mucus. Mucus, large amount of mucus will then accumulate along the trachea and bronchi. And bacteria start to breed in the mucus, so infecting nearby bronchi if there's large amount of mucus. So when there's large amount of mucus, the smoker will also try and cough out the mucus physically. So here you can take a look at this diagram here. This is a normal lung and airway. If you have an inflamed lung, you end up with, you can see there's large amount of mucus accumulated here. Okay, bacteria will start to breed over in this lining, and this will cause inflammation of the airways over here. Another one you can see, this is healthy. This is large amount of excess mucus and also inflammation. So when bacteria start to breed and infect the nearby bronchi and also trachea, chronic bronchitis will occur. Chronic bronchitis refers to the inflammation of the bronchus. And remember earlier I mentioned accumulation of mucus? This accumulation of mucus, since you cannot remove it, there's large amount of mucus, like you can't really remove all of them with the help of cilia. So in that case, you will need to cough it out. We also call this smoker's cough. So this type of cough is persistent, and it probably will not heal as long as the person is still smoking. So this persistent cough will cause the breakdown of alveolar wall. You can imagine the alveolar wall is very thin. So if there is any forceful movement, persistent forceful movement, such as persistent cough, it will cause the breakdown of the alveolar walls, resulting in the condition known as emphysema. So here you can take a look. This is normal alveoli over here, normal alveoli. Let me show you this normal alveoli. This is alveoli with emphysema. Notice the wall of the alveolar, wall of the alveoli has broken down. Okay, by right it should be like this. Now it has become a big, clear structure. The surface area has also been greatly reduced. Okay, lastly, let's take a look at tar. So tar will cause cancer. It contains carcinogen, chemicals that cause cancer. So it can cause cancer from not just the lungs, not just the lung cancer. It causes nose, mouth, throat, bronchus, bronchioles, and even pancreas. Okay, tar will paralyze the cilia lining in the air passage. If the cilia are paralyzed, cilia can no longer sweep the mucus away. So it will have the same effect as this. Okay. So, and you end up with chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Okay, so we'll stop here today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.